Well, good morning. How's everyone doing this morning? You learning, you living, loving, right? I had McDonald's, yes.
Learning, living, loving.
So, over the several past, how many months has it been now? 2.5 months? 15 weeks. After 15 weeks of going through all these and whatnot, we're going to be doing a review this morning of the first 7 chapters because, to be honest, just doing the first 7 chapters was hours of amazing amounts of non-struggling of studying. But it was good because it helped me to just kind of see more of what it was, so I can go over the chapters again, because I was reading through the book again just to look over stuff, so it was really good. So this is just a review of some of the things I found were the key point for the book. But the purpose of this book and what we've been doing is to make sure that when we were reading the book and we were going over stuff, and when I was teaching, was to build self-awareness, to help build your character, to help you learn new skills, to help build relationship with people and with God, and to help build you up spiritually. The book's purpose was to make sure that you can learn these laws, live them, and also lead in them whenever you can. So, as starting off from the very first law, which I did not teach, so I had to do more studying onto this, was the law of intentionality. Growth doesn't just happen. And the key points I put down for what I thought was the main reasons for this was I put down, you have to make growth a natural process. You have to insist on doing things today and not just waiting around. You must take responsibility to grow yourself. You must work hard and follow through. And you don't let fear control your growth period. So in all those things, you must not, you just work hard and follow through. You must do things with intention to always just do it. If you can't just do something, you can't always expect things to just come. Because when you give your time and your effort, things will come as a blessing, but if you put the time and effort to do it. Law of awareness. Number 2, it states, you must know yourself to grow yourself. It says, I put down things that I thought were key, was you need to be aware of your strengths, your weaknesses, your interests, and your opportunities. Being aware of those things can be the strongest point when it comes to trying to figure out what you need to be good at, or where you're good at, or where you're not good at, what you're interested in. They put the 4 A's down in Law of Awareness. It says awareness, clearly, take action, have accountability for yourself and for others, and when you have all 3 of these things, it will bring the last one, which is attraction. People will be attracted to what you are doing because you are aware of what you're doing, you are taking action for the things you're doing, and you're being accountable with yourself and with others. So it attracts people to come to you. Law of Awareness says you have to find your passion and your purpose. Discover your uniqueness and discipline yourself to develop it. Law of the mirror. 3rd law. You must see value in yourself and add value in yourself. Things can be a barrier to one's potential. It's what the Law of the Mirror says. You must have a positive self-esteem and a positive self-image when you're doing things. If you cannot have a positive self-esteem or a positive self-image of who you are, it is hard to move past, right? You're stuck thinking about your past and never moving on. Or you're thinking about negative things and never moving on. Words are powerful, right?
That's right.
If your words are negative, your brain will stay in the negative. If your words are positive, your brain will push for positive. When you stay positive, you get up positive, you act positive, your day is more positive. But if you wake up and you're negative right when you wake up, you're not doing anything to help yourself to be positive, your whole day is not going to be a positive day. It's not going to be a great day usually. That's why I was telling Mom a moment ago, I woke up this morning and I was just listening to music and stuff because I was just trying to get myself up and active. But then I decided I wanted to take it a step further. I started playing music that was really upbeat. That was really fun. I just started dancing to it instead because I was like, look, I'm going to have some fun this morning because I'm going to be positive. I'm going to wake up. I'm going to be excited, you know? So it's the self-esteem and self-image that you're looking at. I looked at myself in the mirror, started playing music, started dancing, and I put myself in a mood that was like, yes, this morning is going to be great. This day is going to be great. I'm having fun already. If I'm having fun already this morning, the rest of the day is going to be just as fun. It's going to be just as great. Do not compare yourself to others. It distracts your potential. Amen. When you compare yourself to other people, it is distracting who you can become and what you're going to be. So don't compare yourself among each other. You are you. God made you to be you. Perfect. And because you were made to be you, you have no reason to think you have to be someone else. That's right. And being self-positive, you got to show that positivity and add value to other people also. You get a chance to be anyone you want to be. And if you choose to be someone who's not going to make a positive outcome in your life, if you choose to be negative, then that's going to be your lifestyle. So take the chance you have and push it. Grab the opportunities you have and do more with it. Law of reflection, which was the first law I got to teach on. I think so, right? Yeah? It was the first law I got to teach on. It was very big when I did teach on it, but the things that I thought were the most important when I was teaching, and I looked through stuff that I thought was, so the law of reflection first, it states, learning to pause allows growth to catch up to you. So I put down, the most important thing when it comes to reflecting was you take time to pause and reflect to turn your experience into insight. So when you take the time to pause and reflect on things, whatever experiences you have, turn it into insight for what you're going to do with your future instead of not doing anything with that experience at all. You must find a place to pause with intention so that you can expand yourself and enrich yourself. When you pause to take intention, when you're really thinking about what you're trying to do, taking that time, that place, it helps to reflect on the values and the things that you find the most interesting. So the experiences you've been through, whatever you're doing, expanding your knowledge, you'll find what is most important so that you can focus on that. And the last thing I thought was the most important for this law was the journey that you have made is not for nothing. The book talks about basically that whatever's happened in your life, it's not always for nothing. You must remember that through the failures, through the tribulations, through trials, through difficulties, through everything, good times, happy times, fun times, all of it, it's not for nothing. You are meant for something. Like the book's been stating, you have purpose. This book is to strive to find purpose, your value, where you're at as a person. So it's not for nothing. Reflect on the things you've done and use it as experience. The law of consistency, this is one of the laws I did not teach on, states motivation gets you going, discipline keeps you going. Motivation gets you going, discipline keeps you going. I put down the things that I found were most important after rereading this chapter because I wasn't the one to teach on it, so I didn't have any notes on it to look back on, to really think about things. I put down to be consistent. You must find what you need to improve, find how you're supposed to improve, find why do you want to keep improving, and then find when you're supposed to improve. When you do all four of these things, it helps you be consistent and constantly disciplining yourself. Because you could have the motivation to keep going, but if you're not disciplining yourself, the motivation's just there. It's nothing that has real value. You must discipline yourself to keep doing things. Because when you discipline, like I said, it keeps you going. So having motivation to back it up, which gets you going to begin with, can instill discipline. So once you're going, you must instill the discipline to understand that you have to find the places you need to improve, where you're supposed to improve, find why you need to keep improving, and find why you're supposed to. You must constantly be productive. I remember something Dad said when he was speaking this. He said there was part of one of the phrases that was showing like different things you're supposed to be, where it's growth consciousness, and I think the other one was goal consciousness, I believe, was at the very bottom, he put down, you must rely on diligent, wise work. It's not just hard work. He put down diligent, wise work. And I thought that was better than saying hard work, because it's not just doing it. In it, you are being wise about what you're doing, and you're putting in the effort instead of just making it hard work. Law of environment. This one was a fun one. I like this one a lot. Growth thrives in conducive or conductive surroundings. Wait, was it conducive or conductive?
That's why it's working on Austin. Law of environment.
Yeah.
Sorry, sir.
I put the things that I found most important for law of environment was time for change. If you're always ahead of the class, you are in the wrong class, right? That was the main focus of the whole chapter. If you are in an area where you are ahead, you are in the wrong area. You must always be in an environment where you can constantly learn. To change depends on your choices, though. There's a choice. There are plenty of times people try to make excuses, and they say, well, things just kind of happened. Well, I have the friends that I have this group that I'm in, the environment's this, blah, 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 and it's excuses, and it's like, you made the choice to be there, though. You can choose to not be in that environment. You can make the choice to say, no, I don't want to be here. I don't want these friends. I don't want this around me. It's your choice to make. So to change your life, depends on how you choose to do things. If you have to access what you allow around your environment. If you take a hold of the things in your environment, and if your environment isn't good for you, it's not helping to uplift you, and that's what you keep accessing, then you are allowing the wrong environment around you. So instead, you must access an environment that allows you to push forward and to make a difference in your life. Change you and your environment. Change the people you spend time with. So when you're changing you, and you change your environment and the people you spend time with, it can determine who you are. Remember in the book it talks about the top 5 people you have around you can most determine who you can become. They influence you the most, right? When you're spending tons and tons of time with certain people, often, if their values, who they are, is nothing that should be helpful or improving to you in any way, doesn't help you to uplift, doesn't help you to make change, doesn't do anything for your life, it only helps you to be more negative. Like if I had tons of friends around me that are always depressed, that depression will rub off on me, right? If I have tons of people around me that are always having issues with certain things, struggling with this, struggling with that, those issues will come onto me. And I can still choose not to really deal with those issues, but that influence is there, and that mindset is there. So it's still bothering me in the background because I'm thinking, oh man, this is sad. Like I got all these people, I don't know what to do, and it stresses you out because then you put yourself in an environment where people are constantly coming to you to try and ask for help because you're the only person in their friend group that isn't depressed like they are, who isn't down like they are, who isn't going through the things that they are. But because you're the only one in that friend group that isn't going through those things and they all go for you for stuff to help out with, it brings you down too, and then it's hard to stay uplifting. It's hard to have positive energy because the only energy that's around you is negative. This is why I love this one, because it's very much something that I agree with, because I think it's the biggest thing for anyone's life. Out of all the laws, even though there are other laws in here that are just as strong, I personally thought the law of environment was the strongest one for me. I think it's the most important one in life too, in my opinion. If you cannot make your environment the environment you need, none of these laws will matter, in my opinion. If you don't have people that can think the same way, if you don't have people that can be positive in your life, if they can't uplift you or do anything for you, none of these laws will matter. That's how I think about it. because this law is one of the first ones that when I was reading through it and I taught it, I realized for myself, this is the one law that's most true to me. So if it's most true to me, that means there are probably tons of other people that struggle with the same thing because their environment may not be the most uplifting. Now, I have a very uplifting environment. I'm not saying that. But it's still very strong because it's important for people to understand that wherever you're at, whatever you're doing, and the people around you really do have influence on what you're going to become.
Yep.
I put down one of the things that I found most important for this law was change yourself in your new environment and focus on the moment. Move forward despite criticism. Despite what everyone else has to say to you, no matter what's going on, you must focus on changing yourself to better yourself in whatever environment you decide to be in. You must focus on pushing through that moment. You must move forward. Because people are going to say something to you. People are going to criticize you. They're going to hurt you. They're going to get in your way. But despite what happens, you must move forward. That's why it talks about strong will. You must have a strong will, not for yourself. You must ask God to still help you have that strong will. But as people, we all have a strong desire. We have a strong will to move forward. You have to access the desire to push on. Law design. To maximize growth, develop strategies. This one's also very good because this is your daily life, what you need to do. This is one of the ones that after teaching it and talking to Dad a little bit, this is one of the ones that seemed like everyone had a little bit harder time understanding because completely designing your life around a certain schedule, trying to make sure you do things day by day, doing things to make sure you're furthering your future all the time, it can be hard, putting things down on a calendar or paper, trying to make sure that, hey, I'm going to do this today, do this, do this, do this. It's a struggle, which I understand, but it's key. It's key. You have to make sure that you make a system for yourself to do something. John stated that a system is the process of predictably achieving a goal based on a logical and specific set of how-to principles. Law states that life can be simple, but keeping it so is hard unless you are able to keep yourself organized with what values are specific to you. Whatever you value, things that are around you, like I said, this even has to go back to law of environment and all the other laws previously. The things that influence you, your negativity, your positivity, whatever's going on, if you cannot see what values are strongest in you, how are you going to organize yourself to set a goal? Because yes, life can be simple, but it's the mindset of people that believe that life is hard because that's just how things are. Because life can be hard. It's so simple if you just take the time to really think about what you are most valued at, where you can be best at, where you can make a difference. And you must take the time to write these things down. You must take the time to ask yourself questions. You must design your life, not career. Your career, what you do is not your life. Your life is your life. What you decide to do with your life determines what career, what path, where you're going to go in your life. You design you. You change you. You make scheduling for yourself. You design your future. And God helps guide you in that design. So you don't want to make a career choice and be like, well, that's the only spot I'm going to be, and that's how I'm going to do things. No. You can easily change your career anytime. One of the cooler things that when I was reading this law, I was watching the video again just because I wanted to see what he talked about, and he says, if you have somewhere that you do not like working, why do you stay? If you're in an environment where you do not exceed, why do you stay? If you have a job that you are constantly complaining about your job, why do you stay? He says, if you're going to design your life, if you're going to push on, find the thing that you can most exceed at, that you find enjoyment in, instead of complaining about your rinky-dinky $10 an hour job, working 8 to 9 hours a day, or whatever, you know? If you're going to work somewhere, you want to make sure that whatever you're working, you enjoy. When I first started working, I worked at Big Cedar for a little bit, and that job, I did complain a little, but then when I started working with kids at the Y, I loved it. It did not pay good, but I didn't complain about the payment because I realized I had an impact on these kids' lives, and they saw me as an older brother. They saw me as someone they could look to, and I was able to help a lot of these kids. There was a kid going through a lot of stuff, and I really helped him because in that moment, it wasn't me caring about my career. It was me caring about my life and what I'm doing with my life. I didn't care about the money. I didn't care about how crap the job might be. All I cared about was the... I know what Mom's going to say. But I just didn't care. I had no complaints. I loved the kids, and that's what mattered. And the job after that, I worked in activities with a resort where I was still involved in people. That's where I loved doing stuff. I had no complaints about any job I've ever been in except the first one. And that's just because I was not caring about what I was doing with my life at that moment. But when I took the time to value things, to realize stuff, when I started working those jobs, I realized those were the areas that I felt I exceeded in. So it's not a design of career, right? You're not looking for a career option. You're looking how to design your life. And when you can figure out you can figure out where you'll exceed. You must plan things around who you are. Don't let your past determine who you are, because in planning life, you have to be ready. To be ready with time. You must be ready with your money. You must be ready with your energy. If you can involve yourself to design your life, to plan things, to say, okay, I'm ready when the time comes. I'm ready when the money comes. I'm ready to give that energy. I have the energy to do it. You don't want to exhaust yourself, right? Because like I said, if you're complaining about your job, you're clearly wasting your energy in an area that you are not exceeding. There are a lot of people that complain so much about so many things because they don't have a set goal or plan to do anything in their life. They're just doing stuff. I hate when people say, well, you know, like, I get sometimes it's fun. Like if I'm jumping off a boat to go swimming and stuff, I'm like, yeah, I'm just going to wing it. And I just jump in, dive in, start having fun, you know, whatever. There's a limit to how much you say, I'm just going to wing it. If you decide to take your whole life and you determine your whole life by, hey, I'm just going to wing it. I'm just going to do whatever. I'm just going to let it fly by. Whatever happens, happens, you know. I hate that I said, whatever happens, happens. I hate that. You can choose what to do with your life. So if you just let things come at you without actually making the decision to do it, and you just let things happen, you know, it's not going to make much of a difference. You're just letting life be life instead of choosing your own life, instead of choosing to walk a path with God, choosing to walk a path to do something different. You must create a system in your life that will help you prioritize the things you are good at so that you can excel in whatever you are doing. Applying all of this for the law of design, you must ask yourself, where can I use this? When can I use it? Who needs to know? I think that's why Dad really likes law of design. I think it's one of the bigger ones, because when you're talking about it, you're asking yourself, how are you going to use your life to make a difference? When can you use your goals and your things that you're doing with your life to make a difference? And who do you need to tell? Everyone. Doesn't matter who it is. If you have something that works, if you are doing something that helps you to move on, to exceed your expectation, to do better, tell everyone. Even if some people don't care, there's going to be someone who can learn something from it, right? Because what you do with your life matters to some people. Your story can matter. 10, 20 years down the road, you're being successful. What's the biggest thing they're going to ask you? What's your story, right? How did you get here? What did you do to get here? Those kind of questions are going to be asked. So when you think about it, you're going to say to yourself, well, first off, I used what I've done. I've used what I've learned for people. I'm taking everything I have. Because when you say who needs to know and you started letting everyone know, your story was spread out because you let everyone know. So design your life around what God wants and what you're seeking, not just a career plan. You don't need a career plan, but you do need to take time to write things down. You do need to take time to see for yourself how all these laws can apply to you. And these are just the first 7 laws, it's not even the rest of them. So I'll briefly go over what each law says again. So remember the law of intentionality. Growth does not just happen. You must seek growth. Intention. That says intentional faith. When you have a faith for God and you seek God, you must have an intentional faith to understand God more. Law of awareness says you must know yourself to grow yourself. So be aware of your surroundings, be aware of who you're with, be aware of the things around you, be aware. Take accountability. Law of the mirror, you must see value in yourself and add value to yourself. See your potential, be positive, don't be negative. Push on, be better than what you think you can be. Have a positive mindset. Law of reflection. I don't know why I keep saying reflection. Learning to pause allows growth to catch up with you. So remember, take the time. Think about these things. Make sure that when you're thinking about it, you realize what experiences you have that are added to these values, that are added to these things. Take time to really think about it. Law of consistency. Motivation gets you going. Discipline keeps you going. Have the motivation to go and then discipline yourself so you can keep going. Take the time. Find your purpose. Be productive. Law of environment. Growth thrives in conducive surroundings. So make sure you're in the right environment. Have the people around you that can be positive, that can push you on, that can make a difference for you. Don't surround yourself in an environment that won't push you to be better. Don't put yourself in an environment that you aren't the best all the time. If you're always in the best, if you're top in your class, you're in the wrong class, right? And law of design, to maximize growth, develop a strategy. So make sure you're taking the time to use these things to make a difference. Because next week after I'm done doing the next review, the week after that, that next Sunday I'm going to give you guys something to do. So that when you come the week after, I'm going to look over you guys' stuff. But I'm not going to tell you what it is yet until next Sunday. So it's going to be a little homework. But yeah, so be ready for next week. I'll go over the next, I think it was 8 chapters. I'm going to go over the last 8 chapters. So just be ready for next week. But remember, just take the time, write things down. If you took notes, try to make sure you keep those notes and use them and take questions and write stuff down for yourself. When you're at home, just ask yourself different questions. Try to write some things down just as a starting point so that you can help strategically think about what you want to do constantly. So you have a plan, So yeah,